Upanishads. Thank you, Aditi. I think the live streaming had not started. So we are just beginning the introduction. So Umaji gave us a wonderful introduction about what she thought the Upanishad is about. And interestingly, this Upanishad, the sacred texts of the Upanishad, forms the basis of many religions. Like say Hinduism also. It is the basis or the core of Sanatan Dharma. Even Buddhism and other philosophies, drew a lot from the Upanishad. Do you know there was one Mughal emperor who was interested in the Upanishads? Anybody? Can you believe it? There was one Mughal emperor.
Chandra.
Yeah,
Is it
yes.
Akbar?
Okay, Vidyaji says, is it Akbar? Not really. He wanted to start his own religion.
Dara Shiko. Dara Shiko.
Yes, it is. Yes, Rachna ji said, Dara Shiko. Unfortunately, Aurangzeb cut his head because of it. But
But he
I mean,
had
that's
translated into Persian.
yes. He translated into Persian, and because of from Persian, it got translated into Latin, and that is how the Upanishads went. So yeah, there is something in this book. Darashiko was so excited about the Upanishads. He felt that this is the mysterious books. He said even in Quran you will find a mention and of some mystery books. They are nothing but the Upanishads because they contain the highest secret. Now, there are different people attributing different things to the Upanishads. But now, how many Upanishads are there if we look at it? Because Upanishads is like a body of text, isn't it? One Upanishad is
18.
okay. Yeah, yes, please.
18.
Okay, Hemaji says there are 18 Upanishads. Okay, the Mukhya Pramukh Upanishads, people say the principal Upanishads are 18. But are there only 18 or there
108.
are more?
No,
Yes?
18, like you say,
108.
principal. Huh?
Yeah, 18 are principal and then there are others also beyond that, isn't it?
108
Okay, Sugnaji says 108. All
and
right.
10
Huh?
are main. 10 Upanishads are main, like
Acha.
Keno Upanishad, Prashna Upanishad, Mandukya, Bruhadaranyak.
Okay. They are main in the sense some people have classified it as important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Or
So,
maybe that they were translated by Adi Shankaracharya. Only those 10 were translated. Maybe that is why they were understood.
yes, actually, there are many classifications. Some people actually of a particular school of philosophy, they removed Isha Upanishad only from their list of classification because it has a beautiful reconciliation of matter and spirit, material life, spiritual life. There is no bheda in the Isha Upanishad. It makes it very clear. And it deals with opposites, so many things it really did not suit somebody's narrative, and so they tried to remove it. But these are all human classifications, we can say. Whether they are different schools will have different ways of looking at it. Do you know what are the schools which studied the Upanishads, what they were called? Anybody? They were the schools of
Sorry, I didn't catch your question.
no there are these schools which studied the Upanishads. There were groups, there were sampradayas, there were people belonging to different schools which studied different Upanishads. So they were what we call the Vedantic schools, isn't it? The schools of Vedanta, because the Upanishad itself is the book of Vedanta. The same truth that is seen in the Veda is also found in the Upanishad. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, you study the Bhagavad Gita, you will find studying the Upanishads very much easier after you study the Gita. Because Gita is also called an Upanishad only. Gita Upanishad. Sarvo Upanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopala Nandana. All the Upanishads are like cows. And there is one milker of those that they have. So this Upanishad is something. Upanishad is something like sacred, something which is having an essence of a truth, and it is connected with a fundamental base, which is everywhere in Sanatan Dharma. Meaning, many times you read interpretations and you get confused. this person interpretation says this is this, there, another person has given so much. You get confused which is right, which is wrong, and then suddenly you get more worried. Somebody says, I want to do a particular sadhana because I saw a particular group which has a very good social media presence, which is doing a particular sadhana. This person starts doing something and suddenly gets a different experience and then is confused, then goes elsewhere and there's a perennial confusion because somewhere, what is the base? What is it exactly? Whichever group you see, Vaishnava group, Shakta group, whichever way you want to go, it is your choice. But the fundamental does not change, and that fundamental is what is the Upanishad. So if you look at some of the names, where some of the names of the Upanishads were told, Isha Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, Prashno Upanishad. I have had a good fortune of writing an Upanishad with one Sanskrit scholar. We will call it Agnyat Upanishad. It will come out sometime, meaning the Upanishad of the unknown. But what is the crux of this Upanishad? What is that secret? If all of them are same, or like somebody said, they are principal, these are important ones. I remember my professor in school saying, "This is important question, so this will come in the exam. The other questions are not important." So can we say, sir, what is the truth one or is the truth different? Because you study the Upanishads, you will see a very different approach in each Upanishad. Western philosophers, that is why they say these are all speculative texts. We'll come to that, whether they are speculative or not, a little later. But what is it that each Upanishad is trying to reach? It is trying to reach one truth only. But what is that one truth? Yes,
Brahman.
all right. Rachna ji has said Brahman. Anybody else would like to second what Rachna ji has said, or would you like to say something else?
We are enough.
Yes, ji?
We are enough.
We are?
Enough.
We are
we
enough.
are, yeah.
We, in the sense, here,
Each person. Each person
each
is.
person. And we are enough for what, ji? What are you implying in that?
We are
That means
we are whole. We are whole.
we're whole, we're complete. So it's something about the completeness, and that is what I think Rachna ji has called Brahman, which is again the highest truth that can be realized. By what? By yoga sadhana. By whom? By every living being. Each one of us can realize that Brahman. That is the highest truth. In algebra, we had X, isn't it? X, Y, Z. So suddenly X is this, what we are going to search. Well, that is the Brahman. And each Upanishad tried to reach that particular Brahman, the truth of the Brahman, in different ways. Some through the form of a story. Like you see the Kathopanishad, a beautiful story between whom? Anybody knows about this Kathopanishad? Something about it? Yes, anybody. If you can share something about the Kathopanishad, if you've heard of it.
It is about Nachiket and Yam.
Okay.
The
Yes, please. Yes, Sugnaji, please continue.
it is
Like
about
what happened?
Nachiket, and he is asking that 3 or 4 questions, and he is
Okay, it's like a dialogue between, it's a dialogue, it's like a story, isn't it, between Nachiket
yes,
and Yam. All right,
yes.
fine. Anjana ji was adding something. Yes, ji.
Like what happens after death?
Okay, it's what happens after death. Who knows what happens after death? Only somebody who has died knows what happens after death. But now this Upanishad is trying to reach some big truth. But how is it reaching it? It's reaching through the form of a story. Story of what? A young boy called Nachiketas. It starts with a yajna taking place. Nachiketa's father is a great saint, a great yogi who has done a great yajna which is going to give a lot of punya to so many people. Is that is what was the aspiration behind doing that yajna. But this young Nachiketa sees, oh, my appa is giving cows which are too old. These cows are not worthy of being donated. Meaning you are going to give some poor person a cow that cow is going to help economically, isn't it? But this cow has grown so old, it has eaten all the grass it has to eat, it has no more milk to give, and this my father is giving. This is not a proper donation, it is not a proper dana, because in our Sanatan Dharma, there is importance of right type of dana also. In the Gita, actually, they call it Satvik Dana, Tamasic Dana, Rajasic Dana. And who knows, the highest is maybe Satvik is high. But in Gita, they said Gunatita. We'll have to figure out what Gunatita Dana is. That is different. That is the dana which the Guru does. The dana of the Guru is one action done in one way. It has so many results in so many ways. It cannot be materially quantified. But here, Nachiketas, the young boy, spots my father is doing something wrong. And he goes there. He tries to tell his father. It again has a beautiful story. Like how in modern times also, children find it very difficult to approach their parents. Sometimes approaching the father is very difficult. Here, Nachiketas also indirectly he asks, Father, whom will you give me? Because he can't directly tell his great father that you are doing wrong. He says, whom will you give me? He asks once, he asks twice. And his father says, I'll give you to Yama. Like the oldest reference of a father getting annoyed with a child. And like they say, go to hell, something like that. He didn't use that exact word. He says, I gave you to Yama. But this young boy is so powerful. He has such tejo bala. He is having that integrity. He's having that consciousness. He says, all right, maybe the divine wishes something by my premature death. If that is what the divine wishes, if that is what my father wants, I will follow. I will go ahead if that is my route. And this young boy reaches the door of Yama, and that is how the story starts. But if you study it, you will see it is not just a dialogue. Through the form of a story, a high principle is taught. There is something called Shreyas, there is something called Preyas. That which is desirable and that which is needed. Means there's a big difference. If you see Bhagavad Gita, all our scriptures talk to us about that same truth. We don't have to run after prayers, which is desirable. We have to run after Shreyas. We have to seek, we have to aspire for what is right, what is needed, not what we desire. Sometimes what we need is not what we desire at all, isn't it? Somebody having very elevated blood sugar levels, what does that person need? That person needs a break from sweets, isn't it? But that becomes very difficult. So it is something like that. The Shreyas and Prayas concept is beautifully explained, and the same Shreyas and Prayas concept keeps coming in different parts of different scriptures. Take the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna in depression is so confused that he does not know what he has to do. He sees his own people are standing against him. He is afraid. He feels the powerful man is now weak. He is shivering. He says, I am afraid. The warrior who made armies run away says, I am afraid. He says, Yat Shreyah Syana Nishchitam Bruhi Tanme Shishyaste Ham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam. He tells his charioteer Krishna, see, I'm scared. Tell me what is Shreyas for me right now. I need to understand what I need to do. I am confused. So this aspect is beautifully covered. So through the form of a story, we see that in the Kathopanishad. Like that, has anybody heard of the Mandukya Upanishad? Smallest Upanishad. Smallest. If you want, you can quickly search and read all the shlokas. Instead of full Bhagavad Gita, 700 shlokas, somebody says, oh, Mandukya is going to give me same benefit. Yes, Rachna ji?
Mandukya Upanishad has just 12
Yes,
shlokas,
just 12
and
shlokas.
it derives, I mean, it does not, it talks only about Om.
Okay. Yes. Om iti etad aksharamidam sarvam tasyopavyakhyanam bhutam bhavat bhavishyaditi sarvam omkarameva. So it talks about Om, isn't it?
Talks
Om
about
is only
Om
all is only Om. Yes. When
and
it's, yeah,
about
and, yeah. Yes,
about the
ji.
components of Om, what it means, like the state
Mhm.
of um,
Surya
waking state,
awakening. Yes,
waking state,
yes. So
sleeping
Shupti,
state,
Jagrati.
Sushupti, and Surya.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. Beautifully said, actually. Rachna ji has talked about it. Now, there is one more Upanishad called Muktika Upanishad, where it is said that if you understand, if you understand the Mandukya, if you realize the Mandukya, you understand the essence of the Mandukya, you will get mukti, you will get moksha. Now then, why should we read other scriptures? Why should we read Bhagavad Gita 700 verses? Instead, I will read 12 shlokas 20 times. I will get 20 times mukti, no? If that is the case, if reading alone gives us, it would be so easy. But no, just try reading Mandukya Upanishad. You'll start scratching it. Om is only all is only Om, Akara, Ukara, Makara, and then there's there's fourth dimension of Om is said. And that dimension is not described. Shantam, Shivam, Advaitam, Chaturtham, Manyante, Sa Atma, Sa Vigneya. Suddenly, oh, what is all of this? It's just like Om written this way, that way. Om is Kalatita, Om is before, Om is outside, Om is inside, everywhere. What is this meaning? Somebody may get confused. Well, that is the style of the Mandakya Upanishad. It's not like the story of Yama and Nachiketas. But one interesting experience we had in a workshop where people who studied the Bhagavad Gita attended this same Kathopanishad workshop, and at the end of it, one doctor she shared, she said, "What is this? It got over, and there was no climax only. What happened? When did this get over?" That was her question. Because you see, so many concepts of the Bhagavad Gita, which Krishna has told, are similar. You can find the similar things in the Kathopanishad. One person, elderly person, said, "Now I am not having any fear of Yama at all." Because I'll say, "Ah, Yama, show me Krishna Roop. I don't care. You're all your buffalo and everything. I will not get afraid of it. Give me this Rupa." Because that essence is something. And it is actually very important to understand the essence. It is not just reading, it's not just memorizing, it is about understanding. And that is why the Upanishadic tradition also, it was passed on. Passed on how? From Guru to Shishya. Means that is why now what we are doing is we are going to be introduced to the Isha Upanishad. But the real study will start when after introduction you start communicating with those verses. And it is something so sacred, you can try to recognize that this same verses were the verses composed by some awakened seers, but over centuries, these verses have been giving some great realization to greatest of great yogis, these same verses. So our aim would be to get introduced. But now each of these, you say Katha Upanishad, there's something called Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad. Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad. It's like vast, like a forest only. If you study it, it has so many parts. Then there is the Kena Upanishad, which is full of riddles. My question is, why are all of these different types of Upanishads if they are telling the same truth? Anybody? Why all of these?
I guess if there was only one, it would be hard for everybody to understand. So there are
Okay,
different forms
all
for
right.
different people to understand. Not everybody is educated. Educated is not just reading and writing, it's
Mm.
understanding things at a deeper level.
Right,
So
right.
I assume that's why there is the
Okay,
diversity.
all right. Yes, so that could be one reason, maybe. Yes, anybody else would like to guess why there are so many types of. Yes, please. Yes, Ji.
there
हाँ,
can there can be multiple ways of looking at the same reality. That is the
हाँ.
reason why there are different Upanishads.
Okay, yes, there are multiple ways of looking at the same reality. It's like we can say a kaleidoscope. You just see a kaleidoscope, you'll see so many patterns, isn't it? Can I say my pattern only is correct? You must see my own pattern. No, you go in next, you will see another pattern. That's a very important point. And that is again, that is also an important. Ekam sat vipraha bahoda vadanti. One truth is understood differently by different people. And who were these proponents of the Upanishads? Who were those ones who wrote these Upanishads? Who framed that syllabus of the Upanishad? Anybody?
The sages?
The sages, the Vedic rishis, the awakened ones. Each one was a different person, isn't it? We had one teacher who loved to say a story no matter what. So we would say in school, sir, please give me a story. And he would easily then start off story for anything. Another person liked to sing. So whenever we wanted to, that was a different aspect. We were not receiving Brahma Vidya, so it was we wanted to go away from the subject. We would ask him to sing. He would start singing because that was a tendency of that teacher. So like that, the Upanishadic Rishis also, each of them, these are the Vedic Rishis, these are the Vedic seers. Each had their own style. If you study the Vedas also, what are they? They are the compositions of different Vedic rishis. Yes, there is, you can say Bharadwaj is different, Madhu Chandas is different. The name Madhu Chandas itself means what? Honey rhythm. That sukta only if you study, you will see a beautiful flow in that. So like that, each of these Vedic rishis had a different style. So based on their style, they thought. What is it that what should we choose? We choose what we like, what connects with us, whatever allows us to go ahead. It's like they're all attacking on only one concept or one topic, that is the topic of the Brahman. Each of them are trying to penetrate into the secret of what the Brahman is. Only their roots are different. Like in war, we have different weapons, isn't it? An archer will use the bow and arrow. There is another who uses the mace, another swordsman, something like that. Each Upanishad tried to reach that one topic of the Brahman. So that is the Brahmans. Brahman is the essence of the Upanishad. Brahman is the foundation of the Upanishad. Brahman is also the destination of the Upanishad. And Brahman is a sakshatkar, a realization of the Brahman, which is possible for every single one of us. That is why these Upanishads are there. They are there for us to reach that Brahman. Has anybody heard of these words which are called Mahavakyas? The great says, the statements, the great statements, Mahavakyas. Anybody?
Aham
That,
Yes, Sugnaji, and probably next I'll go to you, madam.
Brahmasmi.
Okay, Aham Brahmasmi. Sugnaji has said one Mahavakya. Okay, yes. Anybody else? That Aham Brahmasmi meaning I am Brahma. Means I am that Brahman, which is so basically the Upanishad is trying to teach me what? I am Brahman. I tried experiencing I am Brahman by sitting on the compound wall of a park. Aham Brahmasmi, and a security guard brought me down immediately. And that was Katham Aham Brahmasmi was the big question. Long back though, not right now. It was just out of college around that time. So that's one Mahavakya, Aham Brahmasmi. These are Vakyas of realization which can, if you understand, if you look at its superficial meaning, it's not to be studied just by the mental logic. There is something beyond the mental logic to understand the Upanishad also. It's like you are trying to use classical physics laws for understanding quantum physics operations. They will not work, isn't it? You say, no, gravity must work, gravity. No gravity here, it's running in different equation only. So it is something like that. So what is
So
our, yes.
can we say like
Yeah.
Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya?
Ha tamasoma jyotirgamaya
These are
mrityurma
all,
amritam
yeah, these
gamaya.
are all,
That is, these are shlokas, we can say. This is a wonderful shloka. But like Aham Brahmasmi. Yes, Sugnaji wants to add something? Yeah.
Tattva.
Tattvamasi.
Okay. Tat Tvam Asi. Okay. Tat Tvam Asi. Meaning what in English? You are that. Yeah, you are that only. You are not this. Somebody would say, what is the logical meaning behind that? Tattvamasi. Yes, that is one another Mahavakya. Sharda Maji was going to add something?
No, I was saying that
Yeah?
Satyameva
Tat.
Jayate.
Okay. Satyameva Jayate. Again, that's truth is triumphant at all times. Okay. It can become, when you meditate upon it, its meaning expands. Okay. Yes. Somebody is adding something. No. All right. Okay. Sugraji wants to add something more. Yes, please.
Another is Prajnanam Brahma.
Prajnana Brahma. Yes. I am Atma Brahma. Pragnana Brahma, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Soham Asmi. I am that, you are that, he is that. That is what is the big question, isn't it? But that is the Brahman whom which we have to recognize, that which we have to realize. And that is why it is important to go into a state. That is why Upanishad is, it was taught by the rishis. They would sit under a tree. The guru would sit and part the knowledge. Questions were allowed, answers were given, and in that samvad, the highest realization would be got. It would be passed on. One person who has realized it would pass it on to the others. And that is why Upanishads, it is said to understand it. Why I said Mandukya reading alone will not give us mukti. Not that it is not powerful, it is just that you have not cracked the code. You are going to be using a different logic, a logic of the mind to understand facts, to understand a principle which is beyond the mind. It will not work there unless you go there, and that cannot happen without the Guru's Adhishthan, without the Guru's Ashirvad, without a, it's like the master key. Then again, big question comes, so what, I don't have a Guru, will I never be able to understand? Well, it is actually, it is in Sanatan Dharma, it is said you have to find the Guru. It is an important aspect to take the journey ahead. It is very important to take the journey ahead of our life, or spiritual journey or material journey, because our Sanatan Dharma does not, it does not say become a monk who sells his vehicle or Ferrari or whatever vehicle. Be a monk in the way, in that. It means you have to be like Raja Janaka. Means you are going to be surrounded by wealth and yet not be attached by it, using it for a work which is higher. But this is important. And what happens then if you do not have? It's all right. That is also freedom in Sanatana Dharma. Awaken your Aradhya as your Guru. Krishna Mande Jagat Gurum. Krishna, I fall at your feet. Tell me, help me, go ahead. Watch how easily the journey begins. And this happens. This is something which is very, very important. Many people say, no, I don't need, I just need to use my mind. No, it will not be of any use. Someone once got very angry with me, one uncle who was quite elderly, and I didn't even know he was a relative of mine. He just randomly called me, saying, so you have a guru. I was like, my guru has me. As a student, he has accepted me. So I just said, yes, sir, what is it? He said, no, no, I don't need a guru. I said, okay, sir, that's good for you. He said, I can learn. And he went on for a long, it was like a, without asking, he gave me a free lecture a long time. But he was going on, "Ki, I learned from the tree, I learned from the river and what not," he was saying. From the skies, I can learn everything. So I just, and then he tried to indirectly say something what I'm doing is wrong, and direction of the communication slowly went in a way which, as a Shishya, I should not tolerate it. So that time I had to take a, I said, so it is very nice what you are having, but please tell me how many times the tree has caught your ear and given you a knock on your head telling you you are wrong. Because I am a person who does not easily, I'm incorrigible many times. So I need somebody who gives me left and right. That is how I will understand. So I needed it. That was the last time I heard from that person. But each person we have freedom, but this much we must understand, mind will not help us. And just because we have a guru does not mean we are going to get Upanishadic Gyan also. Again, what is the nature of surrender? One Shishya in a Gurukul, he learnt Aham Brahmasmi. That's it. After the satsang, I am Brahman. He's gone onto the road thinking he is Brahman. Nothing in the world is going to stop him. And everywhere he started looking down at, see all these people, they are living like Kitakas. They don't know they are Brahman. I know I am Brahman. I am so much realized right now. I have got that knowledge. Nothing can stop me, nothing can harm me. And he goes on, and one man comes running. There is a wild bull coming this side. Go away. He laughs. Look at this person. He doesn't know he is Brahman. And that wild bull does what it is supposed to do. It hits this person. He gets injured. Now he gets angry with his guru who told him Aham Brahmasmi. He says, he goes at his guru only directly. And he says, what is this? And the guru first says, are you injured? Have a glass of water, sit down, calm down, and he allows him to sit. And then he like, what happened? Tell me. And he says, see, that bull hit me. I had got the realization of Brahman and still that bull attacked me. Why? What is this? He said, did you not see the Brahman in that man who told you to run away from the bull? So Brahman is only inside of him, not there. So again, this is an interesting aspect of Brahman being Sarvavyapi. And that is also we are going to see in this Upanishad also, in the Gita also, the highest realization, Soham Asmi or Aham Brahmasmi, is not going to come on the first day. It is a consequence of certain realizations. It is a consequence. We cannot suddenly aim to get that. That will lead to derailment. Instead, there is a way. So the Upanishad itself is giving us that particular way of entering into the concept of the Brahman. Before today's day is going to just be an introduction to establish a base so that we will then enter into the Isha Upanishad. We have chosen the Isha Upanishad because it has a very beautiful flow. The Maharshi Sri Aurobindo has beautifully described it. If you read his commentary, it's the volume, I think, 17 of his complete works. You will find 500 plus pages of his commentary on the Isha Upanishad. What he identified in that was a flow of four movements. That is how Sri Aurobindo classified this Upanishad. So we will try to see one by one. Since this is my first workshop on Isha Upanishad in depth, I'll not be able to tell you how many days it's going to take for this. But first Upanishad, first moment has three shlokas. The next Upanishad has some more. I mean, next moment has others. One by one, we'll just see how the flow is. Sometimes there is a flow of suddenly it goes to one topic, then another, then again comes back to that as a reminder. Then the dualities are brought in front of us. And that is how this Upanishad is going to flow. The very name Isha Upanishad comes from the very first verse. It is also called Ishavasya Upanishad because the first shloka of this, or the first verse of this, more properly, they call it differently. The verse of this Upanishad is Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktena Bhunjita Magrada Kasyasya Dhanam. So the very first verse is so important that the Upanishad got its name from the very first verse. I had an opportunity to go to Jaipur in the last year, and that time there was a conference called Living Veda. Living Veda in the sense Ved, which is still alive, but Ved is always alive, isn't it? But where is it in our everyday life? That was what was the aim of that conference. There was one professor from JNU who is a Sanskrit professor. He says he has been teaching 1 year Isha Upanishad. They keep studying the Isha Upanishad means Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam Vasya means what? It is a garment worn by whom, who is wearing the garment, how is the divine wearing the garment, how is where each of this, then Jagatyam Jagati means what? Jagati is the other name of Prithvi. Jagati is meaning that which moves. Prithvi is moving because Prithvi is like Prakriti is like the counterpart of Purusha. So it goes on for a year. So what we are going to do is that is why I said this is going to be just an introductory aspect, after which you will be free to not only study this Upanishad, but if you understand the flow of any Upanishad, the other Upanishads also become accessible. That is one personal experience I have seen, at least accessible, I would say. Realization, I still don't know when I am going to get it. So there is no way I can give anybody else a written statement when that is going to come. But one thing is, it makes it very, very clear things, what we call clarity of thought, no? That when you understand this concept, you will see it reflecting everywhere. That is why it is important. So before entering into the Upanishad, which is the Isha Upanishad, let us just focus right now on the Brahman only. We have all heard something about it. So in our first session, because we are going to be looking at the Brahman, let us try to just focus on what we see as the Brahman. What is this Brahman? Anybody?
The universe, the giver of life.
Okay, the universe is different and giver of life is different, isn't it?
It's all one and the same, isn't it? Because
No,
he's
that
supposed
way
to
all is
be.
one of, but the giver of life also is the giver of the universe, isn't it? He's created the universe,
Yes,
isn't it?
yes.
So, means when you say they are one in the sense, how is it you can say they are one, madam? It is a correct statement what you have said, but when we connect it from two perspective, isn't it? One is a manifestation, isn't it? The universe is
Yes.
the manifestation,
Yes.
and the giver is the unmanifest, isn't it?
Hmm.
So the
Yeah.
unmanifest and the manifestation, both places we can probably see there is a Brahman. All right, that is one interesting aspect. Anybody would like to add some more something? What is we are going to just randomly, you don't have to worry, like it's just guesswork only because I'm also going to be doing some guesswork. So what is this Brahman? Anyone?
So energy,
It's true
Yes, sir.
self.
One minute.
energy,
Yes, sir. It is energy. Yes, sir.
yeah, it's energy, and that energy has created everything around. What we see as the
Right.
universe,
G,
the
sir.
humans,
Human.
the living species, everything.
Everything. So, sir said one very important point, the energy that has created everything. But so you said living. What about non-living, sir?
Yeah, animate, inanimate, everything.
Inanimate,
What we see
inanimate.
around, everything,
Everything
whatever
is
we see
energy.
around.
All right. So this is that energy which is manifest in all living forms, which are living or non-living. All right.
Non-living.
Yes. 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 So that is one interesting aspect. The creator that has created the creation, and yet the creator is also the energy that is dynamic in the creation.
Creation.
Dynamic in what? Even in the stationary objects or
Yes,
non-living objects also, it is still there. A rock is stationary to our understanding, but on the level of the quantum energies, or we try to go deeper, we will see there is movement inside of that as well. All
yes.
right, that is, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Anything else anybody would like to add?
It's a true self, our true self.
Okay, true self. Self is generally related to us, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
No, true
I would
nature. Okay, true
true
nature.
nature, true nature, but can we call it self then?
Aham Brahma.
Or it will be too selfish to call it self? Yes. Anybody? But this self is a capital S, isn't it? Self with a capital S, which is different. This capital S is also energy, is what Krishna told Arjuna in the Gita when Arjuna was feeling frustrated. He was watching things. He was sure he was into what Kurukshetra, which is also Mrityu Kshetra. And who is going to die? His own dear ones, loved ones, for whom he has done so much sacrifice. He has done all of it. Coming face to face, he was not able to understand. That time he said, "No, this self," Krishna says, is the self that cannot be destroyed. Nainam chinnati shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka. I mean, no weapon can cut, no inferno can incinerate, no wind can dry, no water can wet. This is the self that is birthless, that is also timeless. One additional component of time also being transcended by the self. Because that which is not destroyable has always been there, no? So that which is not going to be destroyed. I am here today, tomorrow I will not be there because my lifespan is limited as a human being. But there is something which is having some continuity, which is going on. Meaning this thing has understood the Kala also, it is able to transcend time, what we understand. So that is one interesting aspect. So this energy is also what we call the self. Svena swasmin swayam brahma swe mahimni svanubhutam. There's a beautiful dharana mantra before the Atma Shatakam that is sung where Svena swasmin swayam brahma means that anubhuti will come there. And then praptam paramapadam shantam vimala sukham. It is just easy to receive the highest. It comes naturally when you reach that. And a young boy was asked a question, who are you? Who was this young boy? He had gone on a path, the search of the self.
Adi Shankaracharya.
Yes, yes. It was Adi Shankaracharya was asked a question, who are you? And who asked him? His guru only asked him. He did not know it was his guru when he was answering that time. And then he goes on, Mano buddhi hankara chittani nam na cha shrotra jivve na cha grana netre. What is the meaning of this? I am not the mind. I'm not the mind. I'm something more. I'm not my eyes. I'm not my ears. How important it is. It is, I'm not my indriyas. Meaning today my eyes are functionally fine. For some reason I develop cataract or I lose my eyesight. Will I cease to exist? No, because these are a part of me, but they are not everything. Maybe something will happen, I will not be able to hear, my eardrum may burst and I lose my ability to hear. That again will not stop me, isn't it, from existing because I am something more. Maybe it might create some limitations, but there are people who have transcended the physical limitations also, isn't it? I have a friend who's a journalist, she cannot see, but she's an excellent journalist. She writes wonderful articles. Actually, I came to know her after she interviewed the article. She never told me she cannot see, and I just talked naturally, normally, only did not even know. Afterwards, when I became friends with her, I understood, कि, wow. When she was asking what is there, what are the birds around, and what is the scenery, describe it for me. And I was like, oh, what a nice this person must be visualizing. But yes, this person is visualizing without having to see. It was such a beautiful experience for me to see that. So these are all like our IDs which we assign to. We give a lot of importance. I work for XYZ company. Tomorrow my company kicks me out. What happens to me then? Do I cease to exist? No. I am something more. I am more. What am I? That is what the young Adi Shankaracharya already knew. He went on to say, Name mrityu shanka, name jati bhedah, pita naiva me naiva, mata na janma na bandhur na mitram, gurur naiva shishya. Who am I? I'm that Ananda, Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. That I am that form of bliss. Bliss is that which is experienced, isn't it? It is not in rejection, it is in experiencing. Experiencing of the Ananda, and this Upanishad also begins with experiencing the joy, a joy which comes in sacrificing. That is also an interesting concept which will be covered in this Upanishad. But again, this question, so Brahman, if we just piece together different, so if we just start with how it was the creation, the creator, who is manifest also, who is also the energy that is flowing, where flowing in everybody, whether it is living or non-living, that same energy is also present inside of us as the self. And that self can be realized by what? By sadhana, by yoga. What is yoga again? Yoga means in Sanskrit, the very word yoga means anybody?
Union?
Something like a
Sorry.
luck,
Yes, sir?
luck or something like that, yoga.
Okay. Yoga means it could be something like luck, is what sir has said. All right. Anybody else would like to add?
Union.
Union. Yes, union means yoga is union. There is one Yogeshwara. Krishna is called Yogeshwara because he brings about union. Union of what? Material and spiritual life also. He teaches Arjuna, isn't it? Don't run away from this battle. Become one with the divine and then participate in a battle which may not be your favorite, of course. You don't want to do it, but it's a duty and you become conscious, you become yogi. Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Krishna even tells him two methods of dhyana in the middle of a battlefield. Somebody would say, what's the reason? Is Arjuna going to start off some his Arjuna brand trademark yoga with in the middle of Kurukshetra? He's going to start off his different aspects. No, it was actually for him to become conscious of his actions when he's going to perform. The same action which he had to do before, he's going to do it, but as a completely different and transformed person. That is what yoga is. If you see the rishis, or nowadays when people do, I'm doing yoga, they actually mean they're doing yogasanas, isn't it? Because
That's more
yes,
physical. That's more
yes, but
physical.
that's physical. But again, if you look at the yogasanas, each of these yogasanas, they have been developed to bring about union of mind, body, and also the Brahman. If you look at, you see, Mayurasana, Markatasana, what is it? We are trying to connect with that cosmic energy of a monkey. Markatasana is, but what is that energy going to do? It is going to make me more supple. It's going to increase my flexibility. So this aspect of oneness is very important, and this oneness is possible through this differentiation of consciousness, and yet there is oneness also. That is one interesting aspect with dualities of life, no? Where there's like in the Upanishad, we'll see different dualities: manifestation, dissolution, vidya, avidya, which is correct, which is wrong, or maybe as the mother of Sri Aurobindo, when two people fight, both are wrong. So there is a what is going to happen when instead of that, how to bring about what is a reconciliation, not a compromise of matter and spirit. What is the difference, anybody, between compromise and reconciliation? Is there a difference in the two words?
There is a subtle difference.
Yes, ji.
You want
How is
more?
it? Yes, yes, ji. How is it?
Um, uh, compromise. That's a difficult one. I wish I hadn't opened my mouth now.
Okay. No, no, that's fine,
Yeah.
ji. But I think you
Let
have
me
pointed
try.
out that there's a subtle difference. Okay. Yes,
Let me try
Sudhakar ji is
to
saying something. Yes, sir.
let me try to help her out. Maybe compromise is
We'll
something
come to
where
Sudhakar ji and then we'll go to Meera ji. Yes, sir.
maybe compromise is something that you have to let go of certain things and
Okay.
then accept. That is a
Okay.
compromise. Whereas a
Okay.
reconciliation is a kind of resolution of issues
Hmm.
in totality. That is
Okay.
it's finally resolved. I mean,
It's
as she
resolved.
said, yeah, you finally resolved. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. So that's an important. It is towards resolution. Reconciliation brings about a finality.
finality. Yeah, resolution
Okay.
brings a finality. Not compromise is something different. You give
All
in
right.
something, I give in something, and we
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, that's how it
Okay.
is.
Making
Yeah.
concession. Compromise
Yes.
would be making concession.
Making concession. All right. Yes. Okay. Miraji, you were adding something? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, if I were to add to this, it would be reconciliation has got a more positive energy to it, and compromise would probably be giving in.
Yeah. Like when we used to play cricket, bat is mine. So I will get two battings. That is what my friend would say. I will bat two times because I have the bat. And what did we do? We had to do a compromise because we didn't have the bat. So this person has the bat. What happens then? There is a dissatisfaction in one side. The one who has the greater force. In a compromise, whoever has the upper hand is going to establish and dominate over the other person. But is that permanent? No.
No,
Because afterwards we discussed why, what does he think of himself? He only has the bat, we'll also get one. And then we got ours. And then this was something that there was parity. Then again there was fight. So this is what happens everywhere. Because compromise is taking place, there is no resolution. It is just the forces which are moving on. Sometimes whichever force is more powerful that dominates, then it is like a cycle. But when the reconciliation is got, then there is a great aspect of moving forward, moving on, because a final clarity has been established between countries also. We have a ceasefire, we have an agreement, we make a compromise. But until the root of the problem is solved, it is going to keep coming on, isn't it? So now the reconciliation aspect of what? Of Vidya and Avidya, of material life and spiritual life, that is something which this Upanishad talks about, bringing that oneness. That is what is also the essence of Sanatan Dharma also. You see, in ancient times also there was no difference. Science, spirituality, art, all of these were not different, isn't it? They were all integrated. And that is something, this principle of the Upanishad, as we see it, one of the aspects that we are going to try to look at in this workshop is we are going to try to bring it in connection with the everyday life. We're going to try to look at its significance. So let us see if this Upanishad is also granting us something as we move ahead. But if you look at the entire, I think we have already got, thanks to, I think yes, Chitraji has helped us in giving this essay, which is available for everybody to download. So through that, we can just see that these are the shlokas, these are the moments. But our aim in the workshop would not be just scholastically trying to study or go deeper into this word means this. Instead, we are going to try to look at the spirit of what Sri Aurobindo has pointed out, and we're going to try to see is it going to be relevant to us in our everyday life, because there is nothing like impractical Vedanta. Vedanta is practical only. Vedanta is that truth, which is the truth which is present everywhere. Yoga is one. One is what? That harmony of inner life, outer life, that is necessary, without which there is going to only be disharmony everywhere. Somebody does a lot of inner, say, means while doing meditation, this person looks like this person is the greatest of great Saptarishis only. And immediately after meditation, this person looks like he's Ravan. What is the use? The inner life, outer life, there is no match at all. There has to be other, because somewhere this is going to explode, isn't it? Sometimes people try to show they are so this and that, and then that mask falls off, and then everybody is shocked. Nobody needs to get shocked as one important thing, because it is only an indication that that person has not yet brought about that oneness. But that is the oneness that we have to bring, and that is what we are going to be looking at the Isha Upanishad. And all of these texts, when you see if you study the Upanishad, you will see the principles of the Upanishad everywhere. We just called Krishna Yogeshwara. Look at Mahalakshmi also. She is the goddess of harmony. She's the goddess of beauty, she's the goddess of wealth, she's goddess of harmony. She's also a goddess of yoga who brings about yoga only. Yoga Jay Yoga Sambhute Mahalakshmi Namostute is there in the Lakshmi Ashtakam. It is by her grace the oneness can be got. So, what is that oneness? What is that Brahman? That is what we are going to be seeing. And for that, we will start off in the next session about the first moment. We look at the first three verses of the Upanishad first, and maybe then the fourth and fifth afterwards. The first verse is Isha Vasyam Midam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktena Bhunjita Ma Grudha Kasya Svidhanam. It asks us to recognize that there is one owner. Owner of what? Owner of everything. We have already identified, and I think everybody has already described what is there in the Upanishad. It is the Brahman only. So the introduction has already been realized by everybody here by saying that this is the Brahman. Well, the Brahman has to be recognized. The very beginning itself, it asks us to recognize the Brahman. And that is important. We will see what, and the aspect of dualities, because it's going to play with the logic of the mind. This is one more thing the Upanishads do. All the Upanishads, they stretch our mind. They stretch our mind's logic so that what happens? We are ready to go beyond the mind. That is what each of these, like, if you see that, Mandukya, for instance, tad dure tadvantike, tad antarasya tad bahyasya, meaning that which is far, but is also close, that which is inside also, and also outside. How can something that is inside be outside? My mind knows only inside. Where are you? I'm inside. Okay, then let me come in. No, 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 I'm outside. If you tell it to your friend, he'll get angry because your logic does not understand that there can be something, but this Brahman is breaking that logic. Understand the limitation of your logic to go beyond. We'll just conclude with one simple aspect of the Gita also, which Krishna tells Arjuna to transcend the limit of the mind, because a limitation of the mind is a big problem. Our mind is great. We are not belittling the power of the mind. But it is important to recognize that human mind is also limited and there is something beyond the mind. Indriyani paranyahur indriyabhya param manah manasastu parabuddhi yo buddhe paratastu saha. Saha means what? Saha is that. That means the Brahman which we are talking about. It starts about the lowest realm is the realm of the senses. The realm of the senses. So we generally run after sensual pleasures, sense gratification, and our mind gets happy with that. But Krishna tells that it is just the lowermost realm, that is the realm of the senses. My eyes tell me something, my ears tell me something, everything that only I know. But don't we know that our eyes do not see everything? We cannot see infrared, we cannot see ultraviolet, I cannot hear infrasonic or ultrasonic sound. There are so many limitations. I can touch only up to a particular level. And so there is something called Jiva which is residing inside of us. This Jivan is only called Atman, this Jiva is called Jivatman, this Jiva is also called one as Brahma. But what is that? Well, that is beyond the senses. Because if you live in the level of senses, Brahman will not come out of the senses only. What will be the Brahman for a drunkard? Unlimited supply of alcohol is Brahman. But what is that going to do? Will that raise a person's consciousness? No. It will lower a person. It will also lead to destruction. Verse number 3 also talks about how people, despite having divinity inside of them, destroy themselves. So understand that, yes, this much I understand. I know only that much, but does not mean I have understood everything. There are things beyond my understanding. That is where the higher buddhi comes in, which is greater than mana. Mana is powerful, isn't it? Mind can tell you. Right now, we are studying about Brahman. Mind is somewhere, your tongue is saying, I need a pakoda right now. But then mana says, no, wait, just 5 more minutes. After that, we can go. What is man doing? Man is controlling, isn't it? Controlling the action of the indriyas. So man is like something which is controlling the senses. So it is something, an adhipati. It is the Indra of the Indriyas. But this Indra is still an Indra of a finite kingdom. There are experiences. What young boy Adi Shankaracharya, as a young boy, what he's realized, it was not by the mind that he realized it. It was by anubhuti. It was by experience. It was by anubhava. That is something which we have to read, and that is why this Vedanta workshop also is there, because we have to connect. We have to connect with the verses. We have to get that experience. And after the experience, we will know what has to be done. We don't need to worry about what will we do after that. But so that there is something higher than the mind that is said to be buddhi, and higher than buddhi is that supreme self. That is a hierarchy of things. Here also we will see hierarchy of elevation of consciousness also. But that is what, with this small introduction to the Upanishad, what the Upanishad is, I think we are ready to enter into what is the first verse of the Upanishad. We will look at it day after tomorrow on Wednesday. So if anybody wishes to ask or share something, you are welcome if you have any queries or any points you want to make. Otherwise, I'll request someone to summarize. Yes, please. I guess if there is no query or nothing to be asked, can someone summarize it? Anybody would like to summarize what we saw? Yes, please. All right, Chitraji is volunteering. Okay, we remember from the previous batches also. Good summaries we get always. So yes, thank you, Chitraji.
Yeah, we saw about what are Upanishads, and basically they are called as also Vedantas. It is about the truth about the Brahman told in various ways. And we saw that why do we have so many Upanishads if they are going to tell the same truth? So Vedic rishis who had realized the same truth in many ways. So that is why we have many Upanishads basically looking at the same truth in different perspectives. For example, from the Keta Upanishad, where we saw about the Shreyas and Preyas, the same concept is
Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad.
okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So about the Shreyas and Preyas concept, the same thing has been told in the Gita as well. So this is something that we saw. And so Upanishads are there for everyone to realize the Brahman. And these Upanishads or the Mahavakyas like Aham Brahmasmi, so they all cannot be understood just by mental logic. It requires a higher state of mind, and also through experiences, one can begin to realize. And we also saw the importance of having a guru's guidance and to be able to understand and interpret the Upanishads is what we saw. And we saw about the Brahman as well. So the supreme truth or the universal creator and the energy. So realizing this Brahman leads to eternal happiness or the Ananda. So through yoga, one can attain this union is something that we saw. And the bringing of oneness between Vidya and Avidya is what we are going to learn in through the Upanishads. And if we have to tell about the Isha Upanishad, it is called Isha Upanishad because the very first verse begins with Isha Vasya Midam Sarvam. So, yeah, this is something that is.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Raji. Couldn't have summarized it better myself. So, yes, this is important. And there is this Brahman, which is the highest. But there is also something higher than the Brahman.
Para-
He who,
Parabrahma. Ego.
yes, absolutely. Yes, Sudhakaran ji has said perfectly. Parabrahma. He who cannot be named. He who must not be named, who cannot be named, because that Parabrahman is beyond what we can call any description. We cannot give any adjective. So, from our human perspective, the highest realization possible is the realization of the Brahman. So, that is something we will be looking at. And as yes, Kena Upanishad that was mentioned. Yes, there is also this Kena Upanishad is something which begins again. The name also Kena Upanishad begins with the Shloka Ke Nishitam. Means from where did the fall come? How did that consciousness of the Brahman enter into the Srishti? Deals with a riddle, questions like that. So, yes, with this, we are ready to enter into the Isha Upanishad in the next session. I conclude now with the Shanti Mantra. Hari Om. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् हरि ओम तत्सत् कृष्णं वन्दे गुरुं नमस्ते पुनर्मिलामः let us meet again day after tomorrow namaste ji
Thank you. Namaste.
namaste
Namaste to everybody.
namaskar
Namaste.
namaste to everybody hari om
Namaste. Hari
Hari
thank
Om.
you thank you yes if there are no queries we conclude all right thank you Minal ji